The power of the internet brings us back together yet once again, people. How are you? It is EC Radio. It is a wacky Wednesday here at the D. You can follow along on all Disruption Network social media platforms, and it's wrapped up into a nice little podcast that you can listen to at any time that you want at disruptionnetwork.net. You can also find us over there on Apple iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. Before we get into anything, and it's a big freaking day around here today at the D, but before we get into anything, much love to my sponsors. Shout out to my boy Eddie Alsheimer over at EJA Moving Services. The professional movers, when it's time to move and relocate, hit them up at 315-335-0516 or ejamoving.com, the home of the free boxes. I can't believe these other moving services do not give you free boxes, but they do over at EJA Moving Services. Not only do they give you free boxes, but they pack your boxes and they deliver your boxes wherever you need to go, and then they unpack them for you. It's unbelievable. What a great service they are. Great people. They wear back braces. They wear masks. They're respectable young men. They say ma'am and sir. They're just great people. They really are. EJAmoving.com. They'll move gym equipment, your studio, your grandmother, whatever you need to do, whatever you need moved, they will move it for you. They move grand pianos. They do everything. I'm telling you, they're awesome. Also, much love to my attorney, Dave Longaretta. If you need legal advice, give Dave a call today at 315-735-6162. Also, shout out to my peeps over at Utica Coffee. I am drinking the Utica Buzz today, and that will explain why I'm so motor mouthy today. It's because I am jacked up on the Utica Buzz. Dude, if you guys ever need that good boost of energy, go to Utica Coffee and get yourself the Utica Buzz, because I instantly turn into a madman every freaking time I drink this stuff. I love it, and I want you to love it too. WakeTheHellUp.com. You can find them online. Also, much love to Saranac Brewery, my good friends over at Saranac, Saranac.com. Great drinks over there. We've been drinking Utica Club pretty much since I came out of my mother's womb. Love UC. Today is a big day at the D, and the reason it is a big day around the D is because my friend Fred Marriott is in the house from Seasonal Sports, and today we launch the all-new Disruption Network merchandise store. I'm super excited, bro.
Yeah, man.
So I'm ready to take off my clothes and put on your clothes.
Ooh.
Don't ooh me.
It's going to get interesting in here.
Seasonal Sports, man. You guys, we've got this new thing out.
Yep.
So you go to the Seasonal Sports website, which is Seasonal Sports.
It's www.seasonalsports1983.com.
And then /Disruption Network.
Yes.
And I just linked it up to our Facebook, and I linked it up to our Instagram, and we got a whole line of awesome clothing that we are going to get out there to the masses.
Custom made right here in Utica. Every part of it done.
Yes. We got something for the ladies. We got something for the men. We got something for the athletic wear. We've got hats and beanies and trucker hats and hoodies and everything.
I have a feeling, Z, that when we start doing these trucker hats, people see them. They're going to be like, oh, I want one. Just because, like I told you, they're hand distressed in house. I hand distressed this patches, and we sew them on there. It's neat. I started it.
Yeah.
I started last year because one of the moms from Holland Pad at Amber, Corrigan, she was like, I want a distress hat, and they don't really make those, but that's the new thing, that retro distress look in your clothing. So I have kids, so that's all my daughter wants. It's got to look retro. It's got to be distressed. It's got to.
That's what the kids are into?
Yeah.
Really?
Dude, she won't, if she's like that, it doesn't look vintage enough. I'm like, okay. So anyways, Amber came in and said, I want a vintage hat. I says, well, they don't make one. She goes, what can you do? I can make you one. No problem. So I designed a patch. We did a prototype. She came in, looked at it, said, this is awesome. Sold a whole mess of them, and then here we go.
And now it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing, yeah. And I don't think there's any shops around here that are actually doing that kind of thing, especially,
Especially taking the time and doing it yourself. And that takes some time. People don't realize how much time that takes.
It's craftsmanship. I mean, you got to, know what you want and know the look you're looking for and, do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These guys, they don't care. They just pump out generic. My competitors, they're just pumping out generic whatever, and here you go. And, I can't get you a distress hat. And sorry. Too bad. Well, I'll make it work for you.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
I'm really psyched. And if you're on any of our social media platforms right now watching this live, I put up a link where you can shop. It's live right now. You could go there and buy whatever you want right now. So we've got joggers and we've got hoodies and we've got hats and T-shirts and beanies and something for the ladies and women's T-shirts and men's T-shirts. So, and also, big shout out, dude. You knocked it out of the park. We decided to go with a little bit of a different logo. We still have the traditional Disruption logo. That's our trademark logo, the D and stuff. And you can get the D on the back and all our wear that we have. But we switched it up a little bit, and you made us a really cool logo. I dig it, dude.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing design work since '96, and I've always been really good at like those old.
You're old.
I know.
I'm older.
Don't tell people. So, I've been doing it since '96. I went to school for it, blah, 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 whatever. So, I've always been really good at doing those, kind of traditional retro-looking logos, but they weren't real popular. Once in a while at the last shop, I was at someone come in, they want something like that, whatever. Everybody's going all modern, clean. Now all of a sudden, tides change. All these kids want this, so I'm really good at that. So, bang, I knocked it out.
How do you keep your finger on the pulse with what's the trends?
Kids, man.
The kids?
Kids know.
Yeah.
If you don't have kids, and I'm not talking about 3 and 4 or 5-year-old kids. I'm talking about teenagers.
High
they
schoolers.
always, they know what's up. They're not stupid. They know the difference in a good product and a bad product. They're not stupid anymore. They're not like you and I. We were just like,
I was in high school. That's all I cared about was smoking weed.
Yeah, right. He's doing that and trying to get laid. Getting some.
Yeah.
It's a totally different world now. These kids, they're smart. They're educated. They're on the ball. The internet's at their fingers. My daughter's my biggest critic.
Is she?
I'll show her stuff and I'll be like, Liz, what do you think? Oh, it looks good, Dad. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it quite fits. I'm like, all right, what's wrong with it? And she'll critique it. Okay. But they're the ones that'll tell you if it's trendy or not. Yeah. Just ask them. She's 13. She doesn't have a pair of jeans that isn't ripped up, skin tight. She wears Chucks. She's the typical. She looks like she came out of the Breakfast Club. You look at her, you're like, wow, all right. It's kind of like I remember that as we were growing up.
Oh, for sure.
And then I remember like the early '90s trend where it was like crisscross was big. And everybody wore their pants backwards, and then you had to take a piss, and you had to drop your pants, so
that, and everybody was sagging them. Remember, everybody was sagging
my
them.
God. Oh, it was horrible. So I remember that, and then I remember grunge, everybody was in that grunge look.
And the flannels on.
Oh, God, yeah, flannels and eyeliner, and everything was just so depressing, and you had to be on the verge of killing yourself, or you couldn't fit in, and it was like, oh, my God. So I remember all that stuff growing up. It was different, but it's like anything else, man. If you look back at the scale and art and music as history progresses, it goes around in a circle.
Yeah, it does.
You start with this trend and then it goes back around and whatever.
Trends come back.
Well, I remember when. I don't even want to know if I want to dig into music because that'll open up a huge discussion. But anyways, I remember when grunge came in the 90s and killed, thrash metal.
Oh, it killed the hair metal more than anything.
Well, yes.
It did kill thrash metal. The only one waving the flag for thrash metal back then was Pantera. And maybe Anthrax a little bit, too.
Right, yes. But for the most part, those bands, they just they were still there making music.
True.
But they went underground again. They disappeared.
Do you remember when Slayer tried to do that grunge album, Diabolical? It was like Diabolical, like the worst album they ever came out with.
Yeah, when that comes out, I'm like, no, skip.
But you're right, though. That grunge totally killed it.
So, I remember when that came around and then all of a sudden, you had Pantera. They saved it.
They did.
And then all of a sudden, towards the the late 90s, early 2000s, you started hearing the underground music because people were sick and tired of the regurgitation of bands, and then
the new metal.
Oh my God. It's like, okay, first of all, I'm a purist when it comes to that. I mean, you know this. When I can't do that new metal sound.
Not even Korn?
No.
Not a fan of Korn?
No. It's just okay. I should take that back. I do like Stone Sour.
Okay.
I think because they're right in that.
I don't consider them new metal, though.
Really?
I just consider them a hard rock band.
But he's part of Slipknot.
Slipknot I don't consider new metal either.
Really?
I consider them more towards they're after new metal.
Yeah?
Or, yeah. I would consider that,
Yeah.
to me, I love Slipknot. I think Slipknot's one of the greatest bands from the 2000s.
Yeah.
And they were the one to bring it back. Slipknot, Lamb of God, Kill Switch, those bands were the ones that actually propelled metal back to where it should have been.
Here's a good story, right? So
here we go.
Let me get my.
I knew we were going to get into the metal conversation today.
Oh, absolutely! How can you put two guys who are in the metal in the same room and not talk about metal? I mean, come on, let's get real here.
It only took a matter of 5 minutes.
I know. So, anyways, I'm in a bunch of bands going up through. I started in like '98, whatever. So. I'm in this band Intrinsic. We played mostly modern rock, blah blah blah. So. It was a great thing. We all loved each other. We were all brothers. We did it for as long as we could, and we just kind of fizzled, right? I mean, there was just nobody was feeling it anymore. That's kind of when it happened, And I think a lot of it was just the music we were playing. At the time, that underground metal was starting to rear its head. You're starting to hear it on the radio. You're like, what was that?
It became mainstream.
Yeah. So, anyways. What got me into that new wave of English, metalcore is what they call it. I go to the theater, right? 2003 rolls around. Me and my buddy from Rome, he's like, dude, Freddy versus Jason. It's in the theater. Let's go watch it. I was like, hell yes. I'm a slasher fan. Let's go watch this shit. So we get there. We watch the movie. It was awesome, whatever. Gets to the end, and all of a sudden this song comes on, When Darkness Falls. And I'm like, I'm like, who is this band? So I look it up, Kill Switch Engage. I'm like, I need to hear more of these guys. So I go grab End of Heartache, changed my world forever. That album got me into All That Remains, As I Lay Dying, Bullet for My Valentine, Shadows Fall. I mean, all those bands that came up through. It was like, boom, here they are, and it's like, wow, But I mean, that's kind of where it turned the cheek. And then I said, well, man, this is more my style. This is real metal. This is like what I grew up with, Metallica metal.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I started, then Shattered came, After the Clearing came, blah blah blah. Yep. So it was good,
and that's how we grew up together, right there, through the metal scene.
Well, yeah. I mean, you remember when it was all modern rock bands?
Oh, for sure.
It was just every band was modern rock.
Mm-hmm. And it's not even modern rock anymore. Like, if you listen to K-Rock nowadays, they're still playing the same freaking songs that they were playing 25 years ago like it's a brand new song.
I know. It's like, come on, guys. You realize there's a plethora of amazing music that's come out in the last decade. I get it. You're not into, heavy stuff, but every one of these bands that come out, they make a song that is for mainstream radio. Like All That Remains, 2 weeks. They hit that song, boom.
Yeah, seriously. I love All That Remains.
Oh, I love those guys.
I think Phil's one of the greatest, best frontmen today.
Amazing. He is. Amazing. The guy's amazing. And then you look at Killswitch, My Curse.
Uh-huh.
Holy Diver.
Right.
They could all go on the radio.
And they have, but for a smidge at a time. And it's only for a smidge at a time. Even 95X changed their format a little bit because they were pigeonholing themselves as well. It's like, and they've gone a little bit more alternative. 95X in Syracuse, they've gone a little bit more alternative. But right now, it's just, it's not what it used to be. So it's definitely not.
Well, here's my take on the whole thing. First of all, the internet has killed the music scene.
Yeah.
On the local level and the national level, period. People don't have an understanding of what it's like to go to a live show and listen to, raw, unproduced, musical talent. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know what that's like. I have a really good buddy of mine. He's probably going to call me out on this. He said to me, I've never been to a live concert. Now, he's a couple years older than me. And I said, excuse me?
Just mad at you, boy.
I was like, what do you mean? And he's a huge metal fan. I ended up getting tickets, and I took him to see Dying Fetus at the Westcott. And he was like, dude, this was so cool. I'm like, brother, where have you been? I started going to concerts in 93. Like, great. I love the kid. Don't get me wrong. I love Joe. But, yeah, I was like, all right.
You just named him, too.
I know. It's so bad. But, I think the scene could come back. But
well, not with COVID right now, but it will eventually.
Yeah, well,
I'm telling you, once this COVID Corona coaster bullshit is over with, I think the music thing is going to come back, and it's going to come back tenfold.
Well, first of all, they need to take it. They need to take it back old school.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal opinion. Everybody I've talked to, they've started taking stuff old school. Facebook is now censoring things. Screw them.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
They're just a bunch of tyrants.
Yep.
They need to take it old school. If you're going to put on a show, go put flyers up on the telephone poles. Go to your college. Like when we were in Intrinsic, man, we would print out a stack of 100 flyers. We'd go to MVCC and they'd be all over the tables.
Grassroots, baby.
And dude, we'd pack a bar. We used to go to Albies. He begged us to come play there. We'd bring 250 people through the door.
Social media made bands become lazy.
Yes.
They did, because they figured they'd just make it a Facebook event or just make a post on Facebook, and all of a sudden all these people would come up. Some bands it worked for, but a lot of them it didn't.
Yes.
And they wouldn't put extra work into it.
Here's my take on that, too. See, you and I come from a generation where we're not afraid to get our hands dirty, okay? We grew up with strict fathers. They laid the smack down. If we talk back to our mother, we got a fist in the mouth. Okay, or we got our ass beat. Period.
My mom would just beat my ass, but anyways.
My mom. I remember one time, and
my mom still beats my ass.
Sorry, Mom, but I got to tell them this story. I remember this one time I was mouthing off to my mother, and I was probably 15 or 16. And I said something, and she had a frying pan in her hand. She turned on, bah! You know what I mean? But I mean, that's the generation you and I grew up with. Right? So these kids today, they've grown up as a generation of laziness.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't know what it means to get dirty.
Yeah.
They don't know what it means to go and get your hands dirty,
I agree.
To get in the trench and to earn it. And that's a huge problem.
Yeah.
That's why social media has done nothing but pamper them. They're like little babies, and they're, oh, here, let me coddle you. No.
The spoiled generation.
Yeah, dude, it's exactly right. Like, get off your ass. You want to pack shows. And, dude, when I used to do shows at Trace's, like, you remember those shows.
Oh, they're great. That's right. You booked that place.
Yeah.
Ah, it's all coming back to me now.
Yeah. Dude, okay, so.
I'm having a flashback.
I know. There wasn't not a time that I wouldn't bring 100 people through that door.
Oh, I know.
And they'd have other bands that would put on shows there. They'd get 20 kids.
Right.
And it's like, come on, guys.
Now, we had some good nights over there.
To the point where you couldn't walk through the door.
Right,
it was so packed.
We had some good nights.
It was like, holy cow. But, I worked my butt off. I'd put flyers up. Yes, so I was out and about, so I would put flyers up in the bars, and I'd put them on telephone poles. I'd put them all over the place. Plus, I'd advertise on Facebook like a son of a bitch. The other thing that bands and promoters do, and I've talked to my buddy Rich Masucci about this in extensive. One thing that is something that I don't do, and I get called a dickhead for it and an asshole and whatever. When I was booking shows there, I would not tell these bands when they were playing. I just wouldn't do it.
Time wise, you mean? Set times?
No, I wouldn't tell them anything.
No,
well, I'd say, listen, you got 45 minutes. You got 45 minutes. Show up, and I'll tell you what time you're playing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to play first. Well, then you better show up before we start the show and figure out if you're not here early,
Interesting.
yeah, because I refused. The reason I did that was because, again, the bands that are playing are lazy, most of them. Some of them work their butts off, but this generation, they're just they need to learn how to promote themselves better. But their fans follow their suit. So the reason I wouldn't tell them is because I didn't want their fans walking in 5 minutes before they played and walking out
As soon as they're
done. I wanted the other bands on the bills to build a following.
Exactly.
And the way you do that is unity.
And cross promotion.
Yeah, dude, back in the day, even when I was in like Shattered and stuff, everybody went to everyone's shows.
Right.
You remember those days, right?
I owned the club at the time.
Yeah. I mean, people would come to shows because their buddy was in such a band, they'd go and watch them. Bands don't do that today. They're so cutthroat. They want to cut each other's throats.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, come on.
Well,
man.
not really. Not necessarily. I'm going to have to disagree with you on a little aspect of that. I feel like the music scene has been more tighter now than it ever has been before. I mean,
it is.
The people are more supportive now, and especially with this COVID crap. Everybody's sharing their live stream and stuff like that. Because now it's gone to a virtual platform. So people are starting to share each other's stuff. And like I hear a lot, too, when we do Local Music Monday here with Justin Smith. And he tells me, he's super psyched that he can actually watch some of these performers because he never gets a chance to watch anybody because he's always gigging.
Right.
So now he actually gets a chance to watch these performers and share it and help spread the word and cross-promote a little bit, which is kind of, it's a great thing. I think the local music community has been brought together a little bit more. So
because of the pandemic.
Well, not just because of the pandemic, even beforehand, it was more of a, like, you would go out to a club and see like other musicians in the crowd. And I noticed that a lot with when street rock was in their heyday, when we were out playing, every time I look in the audience, it would just be nothing but musicians out there, which was great. And it's like they're the ones that are going to critique you, though, but they're the ones that are going to be there supporting you because they get it.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing, is they get it.
Yeah, there was a time period where the bands that were out there were very, very cutthroat. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. The 90s were horrible.
Yeah.
It was more of a competitive nature back then. They would just sit there and detune each other's instruments when they weren't looking, or turn each other's amps up, or just be a dick about things. But now that's shifted because the scene is so small nowadays. Like it's this mentality of we're all in it together. So why don't we just help each other out? And that's what I like seeing nowadays. No matter if you're in a cover band or a freaking writing your own music, or you're a singer songwriter doing folk music, bluegrass, heavy metal, whatever. I feel like it's been more tighter now than ever.
I feel like the pandemic's brought people closer because now everyone's hurting. You know what I mean? And my God, the hatefulness that's out there now.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, dude, I can't.
We won't get into no politics.
No. I'm just saying it's discouraging how hateful people are.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
And the division of people.
You know what I mean? Like, we're all hurting. We can all help each other. Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. I think it's helped. It's going to bring people down a peg.
So what from the music industry have you learned that you carry over to seasonal sports?
Oh, geez, I don't know, man. From the music industry,
there's got to be some kind of ideology that you've carried over from the music industry.
Okay, so when I was a kid, I was big into hair metal. I mean, I like thrash metal, but I was big into like Poison, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, those bands. You remember all those?
Takes a big man to admit that.
Dude, listen, man, I don't
I'm kidding.
care.
I used to be into it too.
The first album I ever bought was Open Up and Say Ah.
Wow, no doubt.
I was 6 or 7.
I bought Look What the Cat Dragged in because I thought it was a bunch of girls. I was like, wow, these girls are hot. I'm gonna buy this cassette.
Well, I'm in Ames with my mother.
Ames.
You remember Ames, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So I'm in Ames with my mother, and she goes, "Do you want to buy some music?" Because I was getting to the point where, like, okay, I was getting sick and tired of Led Zeppelin and blah blah blah. So I'm in there and we're buying groceries, and she goes, "I'll buy you one cassette." I said, "Okay." So I picked out Open Up and Say I. That changed everything. Then I bought Slippery When Wet. So, better album, even more so. But anyways, so I was into that in the 90s. I my mother was like, I can't afford to buy you, because my parents were poor growing up. I mean, that's just the way it was, you know. They bought a business, they struggled. I mean, that's how it is. I wanted a Motley Crue jacket. They were like $300. My mother was like, no. So she bought me a plain jean jacket, and I painted Dr. Feelgood on the back of it.
Nice.
Like, literally, that's how it started, you know, doing that kind of stuff. And then as I progressed through school, music and the art, because I consider like what I do to be artful, I guess.
Course.
I mean,
hell yeah.
I don't know how else to do it. I mean, you know, when I was taking it in BOCES and stuff, they taught us how to screen print. They taught us all that jazz, you know. It all kind of interweaves. But, you know, that kind of got me started as far as, you know, getting into this kind of stuff. You know, the only reason I didn't like hop right into it out of school is, well, and then I got into music because, you know, music and art kind of, they work hand in hand together.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
they interweave with each other.
Yeah. I mean, the same side of your brain that allows you to draw is the same side that allows you to write music. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I figured out at a really early age that, you know, I could do that. None of my friends could actually write a song. You know, I've written like 200 songs. But anyways, that's kind of how I interweaved the two together. As far as the printing goes, I don't know. I mean, T-shirts, I always bought T-shirts at shows. And I figured, well, you know, T-shirts are cool. I want to make some T-shirts. You know, that's what I went to school for. I figured, what the heck. That's the only connection I can really make with the music. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a different animal. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much more. Well, what I do is more like a contractor. You know, it's all handshake based, trust. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, it's a different animal. Like, music is more like a release.
Yeah.
Where this is more like, okay, I can do this. I'm good at it, but it's also my job and I need to make money. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing where music, you know, I used to want to make money doing music, and I still would like to, but
everybody does.
Yeah, exactly. But listen, man, I'm 40 something years old now, you know. It's like I had my shot, you know, the guys I was with decided it wasn't going to be worth it. So I just kind of was like, all right, well, I'm going to do it for fun. I've been jamming with a couple guys and whatever. Which is totally cool. I like that. I do it for my own personal satisfaction, and if people dig the tunes I write, then awesome. As far as the printing part of it, that's satisfying for me too.
How long you been doing the printing?
It's probably almost 10 years.
10 years now.
Yeah.
And how long you been at Seasonal? You took it over recently, right?
I took it over in 2018.
Oh, yeah, so like 2 years ago.
Okay, so basically, I started out in Rome. I got let go from my one job as a beer rep, which was a blessing, believe me or not. I was making good money, but it was just a blessing. I was getting tired of the beverage business. It's very, very political. It's very stressful. I was just getting sick of it. I had kids. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So they let me go. It was like, thank you. I shook their hands. You did me a favor. So I got hooked up with this kid in Rome who was looking for somebody to do some artwork, whatever. We started working together. He taught me a lot about the printing business because as a designer, you don't fully understand it until you try and print your artwork. And then you figure out, oh, this sucks. So he kind of taught me the ins and outs of that. Showed me how to do vinyl, this, that, and the other thing. And the other thing was, like, I picked this stuff up. It was like nothing for me. But it was like when I learned how to use Photoshop. Literally, in 1996, I started going to BOCES, learned Photoshop in a year, and Illustrator. They were doing them both. Won a scholarship the next year. I mean, it was to RIT. Yeah, it was one of those.
You picked it up quick.
Yeah, dude, I'm an anomaly when it comes to that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not normal, I guess. Because a kid I worked with in Rome, he's like, it took me 4 years to learn his software. I'm like, really? I learned it in a year. So I felt kind of weird. But The printing part of it. So, anyways, I worked with that kid. I want to get going because he, it just wasn't working out between the two of us. So, not that it was bad or anything. I wanted to do something. I wanted to be on my own. I just felt like I wasn't to my full extent of my potential. So, anyways, I walked out. I was helping another friend of mine do vinyl graphics. We wrapped a bunch of trucks and sleds and all these weird stuff over a summer. And then all of a sudden, Rome Youth Baseball called me and said, "Can you do the order? We don't want to go back to so-and-so." And I said, "Well, I'm a walking sales guy." I said, "Can you guarantee me?" And they said, "We'll call you back." They called me in 10 minutes. I said, "Yeah, we'll guarantee you the order." So I went and bought a heat press, looking for somebody to print the fronts of the shirts because I didn't want to heat press them. We used to heat seal them at the other shop. I didn't want to do that. I felt like it was kind of a
cheaper quality,
yeah,
right?
It's a cheaper quality, and it'll peel off and, whatever. So I stumbled into seasonal sports. Someone said, "Oh, go talk to Dennis. He'll contract print for you." I walk in, and I see this, skinny old guy sitting at the desk, and he's like, "Oh, come on in." And we got talking. I said, "Listen, I got Rome Youth Baseball. You want to print it?" "Oh, I used to have them years ago." "I know." He goes, "Yeah, I'd love to print it." So then we worked out a deal. Well, long story short, after a summer of working with him and selling crazy amounts of T-shirts, I mean, I just kept giving him order after order after order. He was getting a little overwhelmed because he had his own stuff on the plate too. He takes me aside. He says, "Listen, you need to buy me out."
Wow.
I said, "What?" "I'm 63. I want to get out of here." He's like, I've been doing this for 35 years since 1983. I was like, 83? I said, "Wow." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, I want to be done with it." He goes, I'm done. So I said, "Okay." I went in with my father, sat down with him on a Saturday, went through the building, started talking about, numbers, how much, this, that, and the other thing. And he threw me a price, and it took me a year, because you go back and forth. "Well, how about this much? How about that much? How about this? How about that?" And finally, we came to an agreement and done deal. And 2018, July 3rd, 2018, we signed the paperwork, we closed, and that was it.
Beautiful.
And yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, Dennis Cunningham was the man. Every printer in Utica that has business now took from him. He used to be the guy.
Yeah, been doing it since '83.
He was the guy. Everything that my competitors have came from him. They went to him at one point or another. It's big shoes. I can't say that the guy didn't have his shit together, because he did. It was big shoes. I lost a lot of business, not because, I fumbled some stuff. Yes, I'm not going to say I don't. I'm not that person that's like, "Oh, I'm perfect." No,
You're human.
no. I was new. I was a new business owner. I fumbled. We fumbled a couple jobs, but there was also people that never even gave me a shot, that used to come into Dennis and said, "Oh, I don't know them. You're leaving. We're done." I never even seen them come back in. I've got invoices from people that never set foot back in the door. So it was a struggle. We struggled going into it. Then we started kicking back up. The numbers were going back the other way. And I said, "Okay, great."
Well, you're contracted with a bunch of schools, and
yeah, I do probably 80% of schoolwork.
and like colleges, MVCC and UC, and
MV's my biggest client.
Right.
Well, not this year, but
right.
previous years. Because they've been shut down. I don't even think they're back open fully. I don't think you can.
I think just online.
Yeah, you can't walk on campus anymore. Like, it's.
Well, you can. I'm there every day.
Oh, you are?
On the track, yeah, working out.
Oh, really?
But yeah, you can walk around campus and exercise if you wanted to, but you can't like walk into the buildings.
Okay, that's what they meant, because I just did a job for them. It was like 1,200 pieces,
Wow.
And yeah, it was a big job. Took us 5 days to do it, just because it was 6 color, and there's only so much time in a day between that and dealing with customers. So I did it, and there was one box that they left at our shop, and the lady said, no, I'll come get it, because you're going to have trouble getting in. That must be what she meant by that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I don't know. But, yeah, so I do like 80% of the schools. The rest of it is, contractors and whatever. When I came in, I brought vinyl work with me because Dennis never did it. I knew how to do it. I knew how to set it up. I'm good with that kind of stuff. I build my own computers. Every computer in my shop, I have 4 built by myself, just because I know what I got to have in each machine in order for them to function correctly.
So you definitely leveled up.
Oh yeah, for sure. I opened up, trade accounts where I can do business cards and postcards because nobody can print all that stuff in house. It's impossible. You'd have to have a multi-million-dollar establishment, and that's just not the case with a small business. I do what I can do in house, and the rest of it I subcontract, but I get a good price. I brought accounts like Bliss. I've had that account for 7 years, 8 years.
Nice, bud.
Yeah.
We have a few more minutes, and I got to bounce out of here. But a couple people have been placing orders. So as we were holding this podcast, yes, Adeline, thank you to Adeline. And shout out to Cindy and Kelly and Pat and everybody that's out there on Facebook land. And if you are out there on Facebook land, please click the share button, help spread the word of Seasonal Sports and our all-new Disruption Network merchandise store that you can find at seasonalsports1983.com/Disruption Network.
Yes.
You can check us out over there. So let's talk about the process here. Like you could do local orders as well. So if somebody places an order, they can come and pick it up. And
yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
and what's the turnover time usually on something like that?
Usually with the online stores, basically how we run it is we set a date and they'll start ordering. They say, okay, we want to open the store this time, and then we'll close it this time, and then 2 weeks later you'll have your stuff.
Cool.
That's kind of how we run it. I mean, we do a lot of sports teams. We don't have time. You can't jerk a sports team around for months. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you have to turn the stuff around because their seasons are short.
Right.
If you don't get it, you got a lot of ticked off parents.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're just used to that, I mean, that's just the way we do it. So it is what it is.
Also want to give a shout out to the love of my life, Kelly, out there. She's going to be doing some women's clothing for us, and we're going to get some printed off, and she's going to sell it on her boutique, Barefoot Brunette Boutique.
Yep, she's
you
everywhere.
Can check that out. She is everywhere. She's doing great and killing it, and we'll be having that up there really soon, and you can find some ladies wear up on her boutique really, really soon. And also we get hats and T-shirts and everything that you do over there at Seasonal Sports. And also, I recommend you guys, if you are local, save yourself on the postage and order local, and just go and pick it up in about a week or two after he's done printing it up. Do you send like an email confirmation, or how does that work?
We call people.
Okay.
Because when you order, our form is different. Like, you gotta put your phone number and whatever in there. When it's done, we'll call you. If we can't get you on the phone, we'll email you, because that comes through too. But yeah, I definitely recommend come pick it up. It'll save you the $7 postage, and there you go. You can come. If people are interested in what we do, I'll give you a tour
For sure. Yeah, it's a great facility. You got a lot going on. You got a great staff, and of course, go down and hang out with the Marriott family. You got the whole family. You put everybody to work down there. You got all the kids working down there. Your wife's doing the website. It's like
my
it's
daughter.
Quite a family experience.
My daughter is the best reclaimer I have in the building. Like, she's like, Dad, do I really have to reclaim 15 screens? Say, Liz, can you please? All right, but you're paying.
Do you give her an allowance?
Yeah. Oh, I have to pay her by the hour. So it's like,
kids are expensive these days, aren't they?
Yeah. She says to me one day, she goes, Dad, I'm going to need to earn like $500 in a week. I go, excuse me? I'm like, that's like 50 hours, Liz. She's like, well, I'm going to the outlet store with Grandma. I need $500. I'm like, good God.
You better reclaim those screens.
I'm like,
put her ass to work.
I got 2,000 screens. You could probably get through all of them.
Big ups to our boy Nate Key to checking in, saying Fred's the man. Thank you, Nate. Good to hear from you. Check out he made that bar right there. Stoneworks Concrete.
Nate's amazing.
Oh, he's a craftsman.
Have you ever been to his shop?
I have.
Oh, it's wicked cool, man.
Yeah.
I was there the other day, let her in his truck. I was like, this is cool. This is how you do this? He's like, yeah. I'm like, this is neat, man.
Yeah, he's got some cool stuff over there.
Yeah, it's cool.
Not only is he an amazing drummer, but he's an artist when it comes to putting concrete together.
I remember when he says to me, yeah, I'm gonna take a trip. I'm gonna learn how to do this. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, concrete. I wasn't sure what he was doing, right? So I thought concrete. When someone says that, you think, oh, he's
lay
gonna
bricks or something,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So then he comes back and he starts.
It's
oh
an
yeah,
artist.
man. I'm like, he starts bringing me. Hey, can you make me a paint mask? I'm like, what are you doing with all this? And he shows me, and I'm like, this kid's freaking amazing. I'm like, wow. I'm like, brother, you knock it out.
He does. He does.
So,
He's
yeah.
definitely a great man.
Mm-hmm.
Fred, I got to cut it out, man. I got to head out. I got some things going on today. But thank you so much for coming in. Let's do this again.
Yeah.
Let's have you come back and, promote the store a little bit more and promote our online store that we got. It's launched. It's live right now. People can order right now.
Yep.
You could go and order any kind of Disruption Network merchandise you prefer. It's right there on the link that I posted up on all the live streams, and I'll also put it into podcast form as well and post the link up on there. Hats, T-shirts, beanies. We got hoodies. We got joggers. I think those joggers are super cool. And also we have the brand new logo too that you designed. So thank you again for making that brand new logo.
Yep.
That's out there if you want to get a little
crazy
new aged, if you will, but it's like a new age retro look, and it's super cool. I love what you did with it, and that's out there. And also we have the traditional Disruption Network logo with the D on the back, the big D, so you can purchase some of that as well and put it on a T-shirt or whatever. Plug your shop and everything else and how they can find you online.
So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn. Come see us if you have anything as far as fleet graphics, T-shirts, embroidery. If you need postcards, business cards, all that kind of stuff.
Vinyl stickers, all that stuff. Yep.
Everything that you need printed, I can do for you. Just come on down. Come talk to me or call us. 315-736-1622. Get us on the phone. Tell us what you want. Some things, promotional products might take 2 or 3 weeks to get in, but that's just the nature of the beast. If you just want to run a T-shirts, you're a small contractor, need to run, we can turn those around two weeks.
Awesome.
Awesome. No problem.
I added a Shop Now button to our Instagram and also to our Facebook.
Yes.
So if you're interested in any kind of Disruption Network merch, hop over there and you can check it out. And I'm going to be talking about this probably for the next 2 years. So every day for like 2 years. Buy our clothes. And what I love about what you're doing, Fred, too, everything's top notch and it's quality. Yes. Nothing's going to peel off.
I direct print,
Right.
A couple of my competitors out there are saying
let's not talk about them. We had some run-ins with some of your competitors back in the day, but
the difference between them and I is I don't use the heat seal stuff.
Right.
Not for this kind of stuff. I use a direct to print, process. I mean, we burn a screen. If anybody wants to see how it's done, more than happy, come down. I'll show you how the whole process. I'll walk you through it, how we create a film, we break the artwork. Each color represents a screen. I'll take you through. I'll show you how we burn a screen, set it up, register the job, and print the job, and done deal. But yeah, it's they've been doing it for over 100 years.
Yeah,
they took it from the Chinese. They used to use it to print textile. They can't really find a process that's any better.
Yeah.
That won't wash off, that's, guaranteed. My prints will last, they'll last a garment. I have prints that I did 10 years ago that the garment's getting tattered and worn. The print looks the same as it did the day it came off the conveyor belt.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that's the difference between myself and some of my competitors out there. Quality. It's all about quality, man.
Check them out online at seasonalsports1983.com and hop over to the D, and you can link it up and buy some Disruption Network merch. Freddie, thanks so much. Let's do this again really, really soon.
You got it, brother.
Also got to thank my sponsors, EJA Moving Service. When you're ready to move and relocate, hit them up at ejamoving.com or 315-335-0516. Shout out to Saranac, attorney Dave Longaretta, and, of course, my good friends over at Utica Coffee. Thank you all, and have a good day. And I'll see you tomorrow. We'll definitely be back tomorrow. And my guest tomorrow is Eric DeCarlis. So I'm looking forward to talking to Big E. We'll see you. Have a good day. Later.
See ya.